Foster carers throughout Derbyshire are being invited to explore social pedagogy in their caring role. Here, 4 Derbyshire foster carers speak about how understanding social pedagogy has had an impact on them as foster carers and how they work with children.
We'd taken early retirement and we still felt like we'd got some energy, and I'd certainly got the experience of bringing up other people's children, and we just thought, well, we'd like to give something back, really.
It was when me and my wife Kay got together that she wanted to do fostering. It was kind of, yeah, let's go for it, and here we are.
Never heard of social pedagogy at all when we started fostering, and there was a course came up, a 2-day course came up, and I thought, well, let's go and have a look. And I felt that, you know, actually we do some of this, so it's not a new thing. It's not as though we were saying to people, or people were saying to us, you're right, you've got to stop what you're doing and do everything again, or do it completely differently. We're actually doing some of it, so some of it we were doing, some of it we needed a bit of polish on it and brushing up, and some of it was new.
There was nothing that I found intimidating about it at all. Things just clicked. Obviously the terms like head, heart and hands, when you start unpicking that, you think, well, actually, you know, you do all that with your own kids. And it's just then applying it to everyday situations with foster children.
Head, heart, hands is an idea in social pedagogy that looks at the head, how we use our knowledge, practical and learned. The heart, that we remember relationships are really important at all stages of life. And our hands, practical tasks and everyday activities that are vital opportunities for children and young people to learn.
I try and use the head, heart and hands principle in everything I do, really. Some young people respond better to the hands bit, especially with making things and doing things, because they would perhaps rather do that than be sitting and talking to you, because that's the way that they can detach themselves a little bit, but they are still involved in doing what you're doing.
Head, heart and hands is very normal for me. I think we get a lot of toddlers here that come in and quite honestly, their lives have been survival. So they come in and they haven't got a clue what a toy is, they haven't got a clue how to play. So that part of their brain needs to be stimulated again, and that's a head, heart, hands thing for me, because you can actually stimulate the brain, so you're actually getting through to their head and getting through to their knowledge and passing on just little bits of knowledge in play, even just stacking up 10 cups. You know, they've never probably done that before. You're actually reaching their heart, because actually they're getting a feel for it and they're emotionally involved in it. And then hands, they're using their hands, and it's a practical thing to do as well. Social pedagogy sounds so grand, but it's keeping it so simple, and I think that's the crux for me.
Common third is an idea in social pedagogy that explains how through shared experiences and life situations we develop and strengthen the relationship between child and adult, child and carer, doing things together, experiencing life. It brings us together and creates shared memories.
We had a young lady come to live with us who was very, very shy, no confidence. We just thought, well, how can we get her out of a shell? You know, what can we do? And I suppose this comes into the common third. And my husband is a scuba diver to rescue level. So he decided, well, this might be the thing. We knew she liked swimming. So he just took her on a trial to the swimming baths. And then from then on, it was just one stage after another. And we saw her development as a direct link to what she was learning.
I think the time that I realised that it was all coming together was possibly up at the Eco Centre at the Wild Camp, because there's a young person I've got who doesn't very well mix with his peers, but there was my dog up there and another person's dog, and he started playing frisbee with them, which in itself was nice. He was getting a lot of joy out of that. It was the combination, I think, of being in a place that he knew and that was a safe place, and he knew that all the adults and the other young people around him were quite safe, and it was nice that he felt free to be able to join in. And then after that, he was singing around the campfire with the rest of us, which was wonderful. You know, it was just lovely.
I like the rolling hills, I like the fireside, when the lights are low, singing a do-wop-a-doo.
The 3 Ps, professional, personal, private, is an idea in social pedagogy that underlines how our own personality affects the relationships we form with children and young people, and how reflecting on who we are is really important. The professional self, understanding our duties and responsibilities as carers, drawing on our knowledge, practice and experience. The personal self, being open and sharing who we are to engage and empathise with the child in a way that shows them that we care and were once young ourselves, so that we can develop a better, more genuine relationship. Private self, knowing our own personal boundaries, what we do not want to or feel unable to share with children, and the things that don't need to be shared.
Because we're sharing the same life space with the children, we've got the professional head, if you like, as a foster carer in meetings and planning, but we've also got our private is very much the same space as the child's private as well. So it's a lot more blurred than if it was a job.
For me, the personal side of, if we do the 3 Ps, you know, the professional, private, personal, I think that it comes into play. The important thing there is getting your own personality across to try and get a connection with the child, because unless you've got that connection with the child, there is no common third. You can't do anything.
I think I've shared sort of quite a lot of my life with the young people and hobbies. A lot of my hobbies are practical. I like doing crafts and that sort of thing. I think up to now I've taught 4 boys to knit, which you wouldn't think boys would want to do. But when they're in the house with you and there's no mates looking on and laughing, and it's great. One of the boys who came to me on respite, because I was making something for my grandchildren, he wanted to learn how to knit. And he made himself a tie, which he wore to school.
Shared life space is the idea in social pedagogy that emphasises, well, that life space should be shared by all the people living in a house, where there's shared values, shared house rules, which are developed all together over time, where everyone feels they are equal human beings and they are listened to.
The holistic experience of looking after a child, that's probably the most satisfying, because you can look after a child's physical needs, you can look after their intellectual needs, but their emotional well-being as well, which, to be honest, that just underpins social pedagogy.
I think mixing the role as foster carer with learning life skills is just one and the same thing, because they, you know, it's like your own family. They need to be able to do these things. They need to be able to socialise and talk to people, and they need to be able to go to the shops, because whatever you're doing, there is always something to be learned.
We help the children feel empowered within the household by giving them age-appropriate choices all the time.
Having choices has made a great impact on the 17-year-old boy that I've got, because he'd never bought his own clothes. They'd always been bought for him, and he just thinks it's great. He's now got his own style. He loves his bedroom and keeps that absolutely pristine, and he's got all his teddies lined up, and it's just a joy really to see how much he's enjoying having just that, what to us is quite a small choice.
You see that it's working for the child, really. It's just their whole demeanour, and the fact that you've got open communications, that they've got strong attachment, and that they're doing well and are happy. If things aren't going so well, which tends to be towards the beginning, you can see that they're having trouble. And that's part of the reward, is the fact that you see them transition from somebody who's got lots of troubles to somebody who does feel comfortable in their own skin.
A young lady that we used to look after, who was very, very quiet, very reserved, didn't really express opinions or very much emotion. She was looking outside one day and there was a duck walking across the lawn, and she jumped up and she went, "Wow, we've got a duck, Bernie, we've got a duck." And she was just so excited, and it was the we word that I liked. It was her duck and it was our duck wandering across our garden, and I just turned around and looked at her. I said, "That's just wonderful." She says, "What are you talking about?" I said, "There's no way you would have said that a few months ago." She went, "Hmm."
Having done the training, then you can think, yes, I can do this, I can do that. And if it's not working, you're not going to just think, oh, what can I do? You've got these tools that you can, oh yeah, I'll try this, I can try that, I can try the other.
Social pedagogy has actually had an interaction and had an impact on her life, and I think that's great. And you know, we think, you know, that makes me think outside the box more than what else could I do? You know, what other things could I do? Social pedagogy equips us to do and to work with these children for their best interests.
For us, if we get to the end of our fostering career, and we've always said this, if we feel like we've got it right, more times than we've got it wrong, it's a success.